and as called for by the United Nations resolution, a high-level event is being planned to be held in New York at the UN headquarters on April 2nd, 2012, next year. Participants will be invited from all member states at the head of state, government, or ministerial levels, along with thinkers, spiritual leaders, academics, civil society, and other representatives to deliberate on the subject in several panel or sessions. The intended outcome is a set of recommendations for holistic, sustainable, and inclusive development for member states to voluntarily incorporate in their policies in creating an enabling environment for the pursuit of happiness and well-being. It is also the aim of this meeting to make substantive contributions to the deliberations at the Rio+20 Summit in June of the same year, in which our region must play an active part. It is the hope of my government and the Bhutanese people that the leaders of our region will participate in this seminal meeting, which I believe will pave the path for the adoption of a new development paradigm that is sane, responsible, and timely. My delegation and I wish a successful and satisfying outcome for the summit. Thank you, Tashadelik.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you for the very good words to the people of the Maldives and myself. May I now invite His Excellency, the Prime Minister of India, to deliver his address.
Your Excellency, President Muhammad Nasheed, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Madam Secretary General, distinguished delegates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to be here today in the Maldives, a country of breathtaking beauty. There can be no better setting for our summit than this exquisite Adu Atoll. I begin by conveying our deep appreciation to the government and the people of Maldives for the excellent arrangements made for the summit and their warm hospitality. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to join my other distinguished colleagues in congratulating you, Mr. President, on your election as the chairperson of SAARC. We look forward to your dynamic leadership of our organization. I assure you of India's fullest cooperation. I wish to thank His Excellency, the Prime Minister of Bhutan, for his exemplary stewardship of SAARC as the outgoing chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, as someone who has had the privilege of attending the last 4 summits of SAARC, I can see the impressive progress we have made as an organization in recent years. The momentum and the scope of our cooperation have undoubtedly increased. Since our last summit alone, our ministers of external affairs, home, finance, transport, tourism, commerce, energy, and environment have met. Greater exchanges and communication among ourselves should be followed by concrete outcomes. In my discussions with the leaders of South Asia, I sense today a collective commitment and desire to give greater meaning and content to SAARC. Admittedly, there is a lot to be done, but the political will is there. We have all come to believe that regional cooperation in South Asia is good for each one of our countries. I reaffirm that India will do whatever is within our capabilities to make SAARC an effective instrument to deliver on our vision of common peace, shared prosperity, and cooperation in South Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, our summit takes place at a time when the global economy is under acute stress. This has imposed a fresh and entirely uncalled for burden on our development efforts. We hope that the leaders of the major economies, particularly those in the Eurozone, will show the wisdom and will that are required to revive and sustain the global economy. But the world economy is going to take time to recover. In the meantime, developing countries like ours will be squeezed for capital, investments, and markets for our exports. We should seek imaginative ways to create new avenues and sources of growth and investment in South Asia, and this is indeed imperative necessity. I believe if we can create favorable conditions for development in our own countries, there is no reason why our investors should seek greener pastures elsewhere. The complete normalization of trade relations in SAARC will itself create opportunities for mutually beneficial trade within South Asia. We should therefore work to create a climate whereby the wealth generated by us is invested back into our own region of South Asia. This will be the most ringing endorsement of our collective vision of a regional economy without boundaries. There are promising signs that South Asia is increasingly getting plugged into the growth dynamic of Asia. Despite all the difficulties, we have been able to maintain a respectable growth rate in the last few years. This encouraging trend has coincided with the growing pace of integration of SAARC. This shows that we are on the right path. I believe the process should move much faster, though at a pace we are all comfortable with. I recognize that India has a special responsibility that flows from the geography of our region.